Hello and welcome to Ask Me Any Amazon Question. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. We do this every Friday at noon. And thanks to Jason Mateo for filling in last week. Lots of great questions already in queue. We're going to jump right in here. A couple of celebratory items first. We hit 300 employees this past week. Super excited about that. And I told a few stories on LinkedIn about how we got started in my basement as an agency. We had more than 10 people in my basement. Mind you, there's light, and it was a great corporate environment. I actually finished my basement to throw everybody in there. And we got kicked out of the agency or out of the house because the fire marshal stopped by and said, hey, you can't run a business out of your house. Who would have thought 10 cars in the cul-de-sac was a good idea? So we're going to start answering questions here. I'm going to share my screen as well. I keep getting this question about brand stories. We made this really awesome graphic. This is where you go to edit a brand story. And everybody needs to do this. Every single seller needs to build out their brand story. In here, you got your enhanced product description on the left, and on the right is your brand story. And when you create this brand story over here, you get this nice carousel with lots of cool things to do. When you build it out, let me show you what it looks like. So we're going to go into my store. We're going to click on our nice mega pint. We've had a lot of success with this, and we're going to scroll down. Here is where the from the brand section is. This is the brand story in this section. And then here down here is the enhanced product description. So they're kind of rebranding this a little bit. Enhanced product description here, brand story there. So hopefully that's helpful. We'll get to jump in right away here to start answering your questions. As always, we do prioritize those that donate to the channel and then members following that. If you want to become a member today, go to youtube.com/myamazonguy and click the join button. All right, so John or Geraldine, not sure who's driving on the back today, but feel free to take it over following this question. David, you got my trademark brand registry a year ago, but I yet to set up my brand content, web store, lack of time, one-man show here. What's the best way to at least do bare minimum to get it going? So first thing I would do, David, and by the way, thank you for using us as a trademark service. We filed more than 1,000 trademarks for everybody in the Amazon community. It's one of our most commonly used services for somebody that doesn't use us for full service. You can buy a trademark from us today. Click on here and check out all of the services we have concerning trademarks. In any case, David, what I would recommend doing if I were you is just simply register your brand. Go over to brandregistry.com, brandregistry.service. Well, let's see what is the actual URL. Brandregistry.amazon.com. That was right. And in there, file your brand so you at least have a placeholder for you. That way you don't have somebody else trying to take over your brand name on Amazon. So start with that. Jeff, good to see you. Jeff, you've been fantastic interacting, giving great tips to everybody on LinkedIn with me as well as on YouTube. Are trademarks case sensitive? This is going to be the trademark Q&A today, apparently. If a TM is approved in all caps and another TM approved as a mix of upper and lowercase, which one will brand registry recognize as the brand owner? Great question. So mixed response here. First of all, you can you need to have a case sensitive trademark. That's really, really important. If you file a trademark in all caps, that's how you need to register it with Amazon. And generally speaking, I prefer proper caps. Proper caps is when you capitalize the first letter of each word. Some people will do all caps. Some people will do all lower. I think proper case is the way to go. And do a logo mark only if you can't get the word mark. The logo mark is interpretable. And what happens is most attorneys out there will file a logo mark and put it in all caps. And then when it goes to Amazon, Amazon interprets it with all caps. And it just gets super messy. It's a really bad experience. If that's you, we can help you. You're going to have to file a new trademark, though. There is one solution here. You can always request an alias be set up on Amazon. That is when you have Amazon interpret the alias of all caps versus proper case for your brand name, and they will recognize both. I have seen that many times. But when in doubt, file it correctly to begin with. That's generally the way to go. In terms of two conflicting businesses having an all cap or a proper case trademark, that is unheard of in the same category. That would not be allowed by the USPTO. But if somebody had it in one category and then a second category over here, that could happen. Good question, Jeff. Part 2, which trademark does Amazon give the A+ content and brand register store to? Both, how will it affect advertising search terms? So every single brand that is registered will have access to a brand store and have A+ content. And then it's case sensitive to match the brand node ID. I also got a brand node ID question today off my website. They hired me for a $50 question. So what we've done multiple videos about brand node ID issues. They asked, I have an Amazon store. When I click the link, it does not go to the store or to my other products. And then the answer to that is make sure you load the UPC codes on the back end. Make sure the brand name has an exact match. And then if all that's good, simply file a ticket and ask Amazon to connect the brand node ID. And it should fix it within 72 hours. So hopefully that'll help as well for you, Jeff. By the way, this gift basket, it's not really a gift basket, plant basket, is that what you'd call this, guys? Was sent to me by Carbon 6. Let me give a shout out to Carbon 6. My grandmother passed away, and I didn't tell anybody, but Carbon 6 somehow found out. I don't know how, and they sent me this as a nice condolence thought, and I just want to give them a shout out. Thank you, Carbon 6, for that. My grandmother was a great grandma, but it wasn't unexpected. And so thank you guys for that. Let's go to the next question. Tian says, I'm always lazy about working on external traffic, Facebook groups, Google ads. Is it a must? Technically not a must. Amazon is so powerful that by itself, you can have the ability to grow a brand without doing any community building. Now, obviously, the more time that goes by, the more competitors that show up on the platform, the more likely you need to go out of your way to build a community up. If you win on price today, you're going to lose on price tomorrow. I'm famous for saying that. That's why you got to build a community up. You want to build a cult brand. You want to do things that go over the top and do things that nobody else is doing so that you can win them and they buy your product at a higher price because they trust it, because they participated with it. Facebook groups, I don't necessarily know whether that's important or not, but I would say Google ads tracking are significantly better than they ever have been. And we also just started doing Facebook ads because we're having some success with that. Facebook ad costs are also down considerably year over year because of the Apple challenges last year where they kind of had a row between the two of them. So I do think you have some advantages to use some external traffic. It's not a must, as you're saying, but if you've already done all the good things, you have all of the check boxes, you're advertising on Amazon, you're optimized, you have human photos, you've done all these things, then I would say it's probably inevitable you're going to have to expand to an external source. Here's an example of how to do community building. Okay, so this is a post. I literally made this an hour ago on LinkedIn, and I'll put a link to it in the chat if anybody's curious. But essentially, we have this mega pint glass. It's doing well. And we were thinking that, okay, everybody else is going to jump on the bandwagon with this. So one of the things we thought about doing was let's just throw an eye patch in it. Well, this person took this photo at no request to us, just because they got the extra eye patch and we're super excited about it. So whenever you're adding value and doing cool things like this, you're going to get some community response. That's community building. Like now they're going to go tell their 5 friends about how they got an eye patch and it's super funny and Johnny Depp's court case and how he won it and all that good stuff. Are there a way to know which product got how many paid versus organic sales in a month? I get this question from time to time. There is not an easy way to do this. Essentially, the way you would have to do this is go to the business reports, look at the sales, and then subtract the paid ones out. That's the best thing you can do. But it's a little dirty, a little bit dirty, but that's the best way to do it. Abdallah says, I had a product launch and have around 150 keywords that I think are very relevant. Should I target all of these with PPC or will that confuse the algorithm? What I would do, Abdallah, is I would do some broad matches for the top 5 to 15 of those keywords. And then I would do some phrase or exact matches for the remainder of them. and build them out with 5 keywords per campaign max. It would be okay if you group them a little bit. The idea of creating few targets in the beginning is the absolute opposite of what I would do. I'm noticing my hat needs like a little ironing or something here. So I think you got to focus on as many keywords as possible when you first launch your product, right? I think it's super important because the more keywords you index for in the first 30 days, the better. And my targeting methodology for this is I usually try and hit about 1,000 keywords indexed by the end of day 30, 1,200 by the end of day 60. It's a little bit harder to get additional indexing kind of in that second 30-day window. And then right around day 90, I want to have at least 50 keywords in ranks 20 through 50. And if those 3 objectives are hit, I generally feel like I've got a good launch on my hand. When I download my SBV search term, I get no data at all about which search term got how many orders. So I believe you're talking about brand videos. If you are, that one's a little bit trickier. Some of the tracking not as beneficial on sponsored brands, unfortunately. So I don't have a good recommendation on this one, unfortunately. Good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Thanks, Kevin. I'm going to be in Florida, by the way, for the Powwow event coming up here in July. If you haven't registered for Powwow yet, Geraldine, if you could find a link to our Powwow event and post it in the chat so people will sign up for that, would be great. I'm also going to be on a few podcasts coming up. We got I want to say it was Data Hawks doing one. Geraldine, if you could find the upcoming events that we're going to be participating in, put those in the comments so everybody can follow that. We have a Ship Pro one coming up as well. Let's get a link for that one and get those all into the comments so you guys can sign up and see where I'm traveling and going. Well, you can't just give them the information about the dates. You got to give them a link to where they can sign up. Jeffrey says, if I raise my price to avoid a stock out, is there a setting I can use to allow my subscribe and save customers to still pay my regular price? Not to my knowledge. That is a fantastic question. Never been asked that one before, Jeff. The discount could be increased, though. You could go in there and increase the discount. That might be one solution. But in general, I probably wouldn't mess with that too much. Very thoughtful of you to try and honor those retention orders, though, Jeff. I get where you're coming from on this one. Beast Canteen, can you talk more about the 2-to-1 ratio? All right, yeah, this is one of my favorite ideas that I came up with. I created a golden rule that basically for every amount of keywords you have, so for every 2 organic keywords, you want to have 1 paid media keyword. And that 2-to-1 ratio, 2 SEO for 1 PPC, is a good way to quickly gauge any Amazon listing to see whether it needs more traffic or whether it needs more conversion, and or whether there's more PPC ratio or more. I'm really kind of fumbling it right now, but basically, let me just do a demo, and it's probably the easier way to do this. So when we go to a listing, let's look at my Megapint, and we're gonna run a Helium Cerebro. And we're gonna see what its keywords are doing. I'm probably gonna have to click this twice to get a new fresh keyword pull. We'll see what it does. And this is an interesting situation because the organic keywords aren't as high as they should be, considering how many freaking orders we're taking. I mean, like this item right here is doing exceptionally well. I mean, I'm in the top 3,000 BSR for all of home goods, and I'm only indexed for 724 keywords. 956 sponsored keywords. So what this would say is that this listing does not have a healthy organic amount. Sometimes when new listings come out, though, it takes some time for them to index. And quite frankly, if you look at the maturity of the organic rankings, I've got 1, 1, 1, 1 on a bunch of these with high search volumes that do well, right? So there's 2,200 people looking for Megapint glass. It's doing well there. But essentially, this keyword distribution right here, within 5 seconds, you can look at a listing. And if you see that there's not twice as many organic keywords as there are sponsored, chances are, unless it's a new listing, that there is probably more SEO work to do on the listing. And some of the things that really affect the keyword ranking is the title, of course, the bullets, the back-end search terms, the brand story can be a really good way to link to other products and get some cross sales. The A plus content, and I am still surprised, but people still argue with me about A plus content indexing. It totally does. Put 500 words of copy into the A plus content because it will index your product. And then the photo, behind each photo, you can have 100 characters of alt text. So you can see in there, we've put some generic keywords of the like. So Geraldine, if you could tag in our team to run a new keyword check on this product, we probably need to rotate some more keywords in here and get a fresh look at what's working. So we probably need to have like exact matches of like Mega Pint Glass and Johnny Depp Cup into the listing. So for example, if we went here and we did a Control F, do we have an exact match in Johnny Depp Cup? We do not. Now we're already organic slot number 1 here, so it probably doesn't matter. But the point is, Pirates of the Caribbean gifts, or some of these other ones, like, yeah, so Mega Pint, we're ranked 2 for a 34,000 search term. That's why we're crushing with this glass right now. It doesn't matter what else is going on. That keyword alone is lifting us to success. So what we do if we were trying to focus on something in like, let's go to like organic rank 20 through 50. And these are words that are in the strike zone. So stainless steel, wine glass, double wall. Let's sort this by search volume. So Jack Sparrow, right? So like this is something that we probably could index better for if we have an exact match. Now, if we go onto the listing and do a Control F, oh my goodness, we don't have a Jack Sparrow reference on the listing yet. Like, kill me. Like that's terrible on my part, right? Like we totally missed the boat on that one. So we need to do a lot more keyword SEO work on this listing to get it to go up and up. So like this is a great case example. If you're going through your own listings and you're trying to figure out like, hey, where should I spend my time? Here is a case example of how when we look at the keyword distribution, and I'm taking a screenshot to like get my team on this, you can immediately know that there's more organic work that can be done on this listing. And so here is the proof. You take that ratio, you run the math, and then you do some dives into it. Another thing you can do is you can go to the search query performance report. This is in brand analytics. And so you could take any brand. We'll go to week 22 here, and you can see the data. So Mega Pint, 10,000 search volume. I get 4% of all clicks. I get 5%, or well, that was impressions rather. 5.8% of the brand share. And then 7.9% of cart ads and 7.5 on purchases. And so this is a highly converting product, which means I could send more traffic there. So these are the ways you can look at keyword distributions and make some immediate judgments on how to make some improvements. So great question, Beast. I love talking about SEO. Jeff says, does Amazon periodically check my physical packaging for non-compliant wording? No, Amazon's not doing any proactive packaging checks. What they are doing is running some generic keyword checks on the data, but not on the physical goods, not the physical packaging. They're not reviewing the photos. What they can do, though, is they would look at what people have reported. If you have somebody reporting your listing for a problem, that's when they do the review. Amazon is a culture of escalation. So when you escalate things, that's what happens. So when you first submit a product, they do an SDS check, hazmat check, compliance check. A lot of those things do happen, yes. But generally speaking, not really something they're going to do continuously. Karen, good to see you. Regarding your recent YouTube video for a listing with 2,000 organic keywords and 2,000 sponsored keywords, you said to soften the sponsored keywords or focus on more organic keywords. Can you elaborate on these steps, please? So we kind of just did that a little bit. We'll go into a little bit more detail. So I don't remember which listing I was looking at when we did that video. So let's see if we can pull up one of, it's probably going to be on one of my Age of Sage listings. And maybe this one, possibly. So essentially, if you're advertising on the same number of keywords as you are organically ranked on, one of two things is true. Number one, either you are overspending on ads, that's less likely, or two, there are more organic listings that you can easily climb up on. And so this is actually pretty close to the golden ratio of 1 to 2. We have 1,200 sponsored keywords, 34 organic. If we were at 2,000 and 2,000 here, chances are when we did a keyword distribution check against the competitors, and what you would do to do this is you would take 10 competitor ASINs, toss them into a tool such as Cerebro, look at the filtering to see what they are consistently in the top 10 for that you are not. And those are the keywords you should focus on when you're trying to incrementally index for additional keywords. But in general, if you're at 2,000 sponsored keywords and 2,000 organic, more than likely there are twice as many organic keywords you could index for, more than likely. And if you're struggling to identify what they are, when you pull in those 10 competitor listings, the data will be obvious to you. As a case example to this, I used to work for a company called Atmix.com, and this was not on Amazon, precious metal dealer. And I increased their organic traffic by 10 million unique visitors year over year. You can look them up in SEMrush or any SEO tool, Ahrefs. You can see it and guess my hire date. And essentially, this company was not focused on an entire sector of keywords. In their case, it was price terms. And so price of silver, price of gold, stuff like that. And once we started we created 2,000 pages of content for this website and made it a whole educational content, put copy everywhere. And it immediately had an impact, and we started getting more organic traffic. The same thing applies on Amazon. And what we're talking about with this competitor research, you're going to be able to identify like what everybody else is ranked for that you're not ranked for. Now, here's the nice thing. Remember when we looked at the search query performance? Amazon is already doing this work for you. They're literally telling you from top to bottom what keywords you should be focused on, right? Megapint, Johnny Depp merchandise, Johnny Depp shirt, Megapint glass, Megapint cup. Like these are words that Amazon believes we could get more sales on with minimal amount of effort of traction here. So that's what you need to do. You need to focus on keywords that you're not focused on today, that are not indexed, not ranking in the top 10, and try and raise them to the top. Charlie says, which H10 Helium 10 metric thresholds do you set for launching new products? 10,000 monthly SV search volume and under 500 competitors. So I actually do this in the reverse. So I find a product that I believe or I understand, then I will then look at the data to see if it supports me. More often than not, I will launch a product regardless of what the data says, because I believe I can source the product and make a buck, right? So when you are looking at data, keep in mind that everybody else has access to the same data. And if you only set your thresholds in a certain methodology, everybody and their dogs is going to copy that. They're going to do it the same way, which is why you see all the Alibaba product brands suffering right now, because they're all racing to the bottom on price. So it's far superior of a methodology, in my opinion, to pick a product and then look at the data to see if it supports it. So don't start with the data, look at the product first. But in general, I would say that if there's at least a niche that you can be taking 10% of the market share on, you have a winning product. So if you look at that math, you can run the variables on that. 10% market share, you'll probably be okay. Did you see the new CPI value this morning? 40-year high inflation rates. Are there certain less obvious niches you're seeing be impacted less? No, everything's going to be impacted here. There's no question about it. I did not see the news this morning, but I have been talking about this for 18 months. When the government prints 40% of the money supply in the course of a year to 18 months, the equivalent inflation rate that will follow will catch up in the same time frame. So just deductive math here. I saw the inflation rate going before everybody else was talking about it, literally because the government printed money. It's that simple for me. It's that black and white. So everybody's going to be affected by inflation rates, but the commodity items, the items that are uh, items that you must have to survive, those are the items that you must purchase to survive. And so those are the items that are going to go up the most. Gift items like the funny wine glasses that I sell and boxes and stuff like that, those will probably be impacted the least because the demand is going to go off a cliff. And I've personally seen that. The mom box example that I had up on screen a minute ago, and I'll pull it up again. This sold $144,000 in 2021 in 4 weeks when I first launched the product on Mother's Day. This past year, it only did 65,000. Same item, same pricing, no further changes. And the competition wasn't like the competition was better or worse. Same environment, just consumer demand for gift stuff super down. So I think inflation is going to hit everything, but it will hit gift items the least. But anything that's not hit by inflation will probably not have as much demand. So you get the idea. Abdul says, hi, Stephen. Hello back to you on LinkedIn. Squeaks U of A, good morning. Libya says, very impressive. Danny, hi, Stephen. My conversion rates is 2.6%. I have the Amazon's Choice badge for over 25 keywords. Does this mean that the average CR for this niche is less than 2.6%? Yes, I think that does actually. So that means the conversion rate is super low in your category. Danny, I would suspect that you have a high ticket item, probably $70 or higher. That'd be my guess. If you have a 2-point conversion rate there with an Amazon's badge, that tells me it's a lot of research has to go before a consumer makes a purchase there. Nico says, just wanted to update you on the parentage issue I was having where child variations were showing the same image, even though I uploaded different images for each one. Let's go to part 2 here. Turns out you made a video on this issue that I missed. I had a coaching call with Saban, and we did a template file upload to change the variation theme to style. That fixed it. Glad I didn't have to break the parentage. Mad coaches are the goats. Nico, I'm so glad to hear that. We like to make sure that people are taken care of, and switching the parentage variation theme sometimes is necessary. But I'm a little surprised that some of the other techniques didn't work before switching the parentage theme. But hey, glad you're in good shape, Nico, and thanks for the shout out to our coaches. If any of you guys get stuck, feel free to check us out at myamazonguys.com/coaching. We'll help you out as well. You can see here's our coaches here. This is our coaching staff. You got me, Jason, Matt, Francisco, Shaban, and John does free ones. If you guys want to hire us or just talk about keyword research, talk to John there. Great work, Steven, coming in off Facebook. Thank you, Amin. The Thinkerish, how to delete shipments and workflows. There's not a delete button at the bottom of the window in the shipping queue. That is a great question. All right, so let me see if I can fumble through this one myself because they have changed the UI quite a bit of late. So delete shipments and workflows. So we're just going to go into a shipment and let's just click into this one here. There might be some private information on here. I might need to think about this. Yes, there is. Okay, so can't show and tell this one very easily, unfortunately. But let me just look at it off screen and see if there is a delete button somewhere in here. There is not. So we're going to do some research on that one. We'll see if we can find something and do a follow-up with you on this one. All right. Let's go to Fahad. Thank you for your donation. If my product is ranked high in most wished for, but not high in best selling, is that bad? What would you do in response to this observation? Well, that's an interesting question. So people are adding it to the wish list, but they're not purchasing it. So perhaps the category is underdeveloped, but not necessarily has the demand appropriate to match the development of the category. So I'm going to flip on my AC. I'm a little hot here. So good old Nest thermostat on the phone. Okay, so let me think about this. Wish list, but not selling. Fahad, I would love to see the ASIN on this one, and I'm gonna guess that there's probably a multitude of variables here that will be best done. So if you're comfortable sharing it publicly, post the ASIN in the chat. If you're not, send it in an email over to me at podcast@myamazonguy.com, and I'll give you some awesome tips to help you out there. So Fahad, I owe you some further information, but I feel like I'm not going to give a great enough answer without seeing the product. John Aspinall, one of our account executives at My Amazon Guy, if you have a third-party product that the brand owner gives you exclusive but requires adhering to MAP, can you make a bundle with a new GS1 barcode for the bundle that applies to the brand name? Yes, you can. I've done this many times. Generally speaking, the way that I would do this is as follows. I would make a bundle and put it under my own brand name so I could make the A+ content. The brand probably won't like that, but that's what I would do. Now, if you're friendly with the brand owner and they're okay with you making a bundle and they'll give you access to brand registry and A+ content, then by all means keep it under their brand name. And you can use any GS1 barcode. Shouldn't be a challenge on that. Although if you're going to put it on your own brand name, you can probably get away with some eBay codes, to be honest. GS1 codes, barcodes, UPCs, super messy this year. Never seen it more messier than it's ever been. Amazon's been posturing about using GS1, but they've really backed off in the last 6 months. Haven't really seen any problems with it. So changing UPCs on the platform, however, we made 3 different SOPs, 3 different processes, and then none of them work currently. So we stopped offering it as a service because Amazon keeps changing their dang policies. Wayward Gaming says, hey, Steve, can you explain the pros and cons of keyword cannibalization? So the pro is it's faster advertising setup to just do spray and pray shotgun approach. The con is you need better segmentation or you'll have worse advertising results and you will not get impressions on all of the keywords that are involved accordingly. So if you have a campaign with 100 keywords in it, 5 of those keywords are going to get more than 80% of the impressions. So you got to keep that in mind. If you don't segment your campaigns more, that is less keywords per campaign, you will see more of the ad spend go to less of the keywords. So if you think 100 keywords are relevant, separate that into 20 different campaigns with 5 keywords each. Hello, how are you doing? Coming off LinkedIn. I got to ask you, what's the criteria to get eligible for your internship opportunity? So you can get an internship at myamazonguy.com/internships. And a lot of people ask, do I need experience to get a job at My Amazon Guy? The answer to that is no. We are the best in the world at educating new hires, remote workers on how to work in an Amazon ecosystem. So we don't care about experience. What we do care about is culture and competency. So we hire people who we believe are predictably going to fit into our culture and competently add nonstop value to our business as well as our clients. So if you want a job, myamazonguy.com/jobs. We always love working with people all over the world. Philippines, give you guys a shout out. Love the Filipinos. Pakistan, you guys are some of the best PPC troubleshooters in the world. Awesome job over there in Pakistan. We also have members over in Brazil, Argentina, Spain, Romania, Turkey, and many other countries. So hope you guys check it out. Eli says, what do you think about the software Quartile for PPC? So I have met the leadership over at Quartile, some smart cats over there. They're also partnered with other big brands like Thrasio. So that tells you a lot right from the start that if they're being trusted by big brands, they've got something done correctly. My feeling is that this is the highest cost tier platform. If you are not spending $40,000, $50,000 a month on PPC, Quartile is probably not a fit for you. And that's because their methodology, which is superb, is just specific. You have to have a lot of cash to run their methodology. A low budget Quartile account will not have justifiable results. You'd be better off doing it manually, in my opinion. That's my thoughts on Quartile. I looked at Amazon Canada. I see someone selling my product with my brand name. What do I do now? You can file a trademark infringement or a copyright infringement for them. Here's the skinny though. If you don't have a trademark in Canada, they might ignore you. And so we actually file Canadian trademarks all the time to help people get some of those taken down. Just go over to our service menu here and you'll see Canadian trademark right on the mid right there. And so I would definitely check that out if you have a big problem. Now, if you're a small seller and you know, an $800 trademark's a little expensive, you know, to double up over in Canada, just ignore it. Zilusha, how to target multiple variations in PPC. So I'm trying to think what's the goal here? Why is this question being asked? And so I'm going to go over to one of my, there's a lot of different ways variations could be done, right? So like if we looked at my soap items, for example, we have 16 variations of different scents. And so you would want to have a generic campaign with all 16 variations in it with generic terms like artisan soap. But then you'd want to have a unique ad group at bare minimum, if not its own campaign, where we target the scent keywords like cedarwood, tea tree, or charcoal aloe, and putting those keywords in their own variation tree. So the more you segment your PPC, the better it will perform. Less is more. More segmentation, less keywords being the explanation there. So that's how I would do it. Not sure if I'm answering your question based on your goal, but segment it out for sure. Now here is the other part of the question that you probably were not expecting me to say. If you're launching a new set of products, let's say you have 16 variations, how much budget should you put behind each product? The answer to that question is not 1/16 on each SKU. The answer is more than likely 80% on one SKU and 20% on the rest. And the reason for that is you need a power SKU to rank. You need sales to get sales. I say this all the time. The better your velocity on one SKU, the better off the entire parentage will do. And so we run this methodology on the smudge sticks, right? So when we first launched this, we had the 3-pack at $8, basically breaking even, or even actually, I think we actually lost like $2,500 selling these at $8. But we did it though to rank the parentage, right? The BSR on this at $8 is $12,000. The BSR at $10 is $24,000. So I actually lose like 65% of my sales by having this $2 higher. But it ranks the parentage and allows the 6, 12, and 100 pack to get us some sales, right? And we're obviously hoping that somebody comes here and sees that the 6-pack's only $3 extra, and we're hoping they upgrade to it, right? Like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to push them up the stream. But that's kind of the strategy there. So focus on one power SKU. Matto says, please help incorrectly labeled pink variation with blue labels and vice versa in my last shipment to Amazon. I have 1,000 in the warehouse. Is there anything I can do to avoid having to recall all of my stock? It'll be immediately obvious which are incorrect as the colors are very different. Can I pay Amazon to relabel the incorrect items? Well, sir, I have a story for you, and it's about my mom sauce bottle. You cannot trust Amazon to relabel jack crap. You can't even trust Amazon to put a 5-pound glass bottle and ship it in boxes. They took my 5-pound bottle. I put it in, paid them to do the prep work, and they did put the bubble wrap around it, slapped on the FN SKUs, and then they freaking shipped it in padded envelopes. So, no, the answer to your question is no. You cannot pay Amazon to do the relabel. Here is your choice. You can ticket Amazon to ask them to flip-flop the stock. However, the likelihood of that correctly happening is about 3 to 5%. I can tell you right now that you're better off literally just changing the listings than trying to change the stock. So what that means is just update your listings to match what you shipped in. Now, if you already have stock there and it's going to mingle and it's going to be a giant mess, I'm going to give you the answer you really don't want to hear. Ship it all back and reship it in. It's the unfortunate truth, and that's going to take you weeks to fix and such a mess. But this sort of problem will persist for months. You'll get so many negative reviews, and Amazon will not fix it for you. You are better off removing the inventory or switching the Amazon listing designs. Terrible answer, terrible situation, but that's the honest truth. Tandis says, "Hey Pope, could you riff on the NARF program?" So riff could mean share some thoughts. It also could mean tear it apart. Amazon announced rollout for many sellers starting July 1 unless opt out. Who is it best suited for? Was it not a good fit? Where do issues come up? So in general, I think this is free money in your pocket. I would not opt out of NARF unless you have a product that is illegal to sell in a different country. I think that any sales that you generate from Mexico, Canada are going to be golden. You absolutely want to make those happen and take them. NARF will increase your sales by about 3 to 7%, usually on the 3% side of things, but some products do really, really well with NARF. I sell my wine glasses and some of my other products in Canada, and I get a few orders from Mexico here and there. Mexico's not worth paying attention to at this time. The culture there is not adoptive of Amazon, even the expats, not really. So in general, I would say NARF is beneficial, but will be small, will be light. Amazon was trying to increase its sales in Canada. And so if you get your stock over into Canada FBA directly, you're going to do significantly better, way better off. But if you don't want to deal with that, customs, taxes, all of the work that involves Canadian shipments, NARF is a nice thing. Now, the program itself, it sucks. Like the team that made this did a terrible job making the NARF program, and most products were ineligible and you couldn't fix it. There's no way to troubleshoot it. I have a bunch of videos on how to set up NARF, but July 1, if they're auto enrolling everybody, I think it's good for everybody. So don't opt out unless you have a problem. Mohammed says, what's the best way to prevent getting out of stock? What strategies do you recommend? Buy a year's supply of your stock whenever possible. It's a little hard on the pocketbook to sit money like that, but our supply chain is a giant wreck. The governments have really effed up the entire economy worldwide on purpose, I might add. And the elites are taking control of pretty much everything. So the only thing you can do to prevent yourself from going out of stock is to overbuy. There's two reasons why this is smart. First, the supply chain, which I talked about. Second, though, is inflation. Anything you buy today is like buying it on discount because you're going to have to pay more for it later. Inflation is not over. It's going to continue going up. Jordan Lee says, just launched my first product. Congratulations, man. Sales have been okay, but I think my price might be slightly too high. How soon after do you make key changes such as changing price? If you think you're too high, go ahead and lower it, get some sales in the door, increase the BSR, index for more keywords, and then raise it later. That's honestly what I would do. Probably don't even need to see the listing. That's probably the answer. What's the quickest way to index for as many keywords as possible at launch? 500 words of copy in the A+ content. Make sure you use all 250 bytes, not characters, in the search term field, and maximize title, bullets, etc. The more copy with exact match keywords for keywords that matter and doing a master keyword list, the better off you will be. Lunga says, hello, Stephen. I have a listing which is 1 year old, index for 900 organic keywords, a little low. My PPC to SEO ratio, almost 1-to-1. So you need to double your organic indexing. So Lunga, a lot of what we talked about in the intro of the video today about the golden ratio of keywords, you are under SEO optimized and you need to go in and add more copy. You need to do a keyword gap analysis of your top 10 competitors and see what they rank for and add exact matches for those keywords. You have an indexing problem, which generally means the solution is your A+ content. Justin says, do you run ads to each of your child variations or just the bestseller, highest CTR? So I run most ads 80% to the bestseller. And that is a really important thing to do. If you don't, what happens is it's not an all ships rise together equally kind of situation. If you have 16 variations and you put 1/16 of the ad spend on each of them, their BSRs might be in the 50,000 to 200,000 each. But if you put 80% under one variation, that one variation could make the top 5, top 10,000 BSR, and then all of the other ones will get cursory sales. That's why I don't equally do variation ads. You want to go to your bestseller almost always. Asif coming off Facebook here. Hi, Steven. One of my clients selling magnet balls on Amazon. It's restricted product. Amazon removes listings within 8 hours after listing the products. So we have to list every new day with a new ASIN and UPC FBM, but somehow competitors bypass the system and they're selling without facing listing removal. Can you please suggest something to resolve the issue? So you're not going to like my answer. Unfortunately, if Amazon has made a policy, it is not worth fighting it. Generally speaking, it's way better to just pivot to a new product entirely. Now, if you've got product and you're eventually going to get suspended for selling restricted product, it is not worth fighting it. Don't try and go uphill fighting Amazon policy. Just concede and move on to the next product. What's the difference between PPC close match, long match, and the other two? So we have a lot of sophisticated videos on this. It's probably too complicated for me to give you an in-depth answer today, but I will give you the lower depth answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a campaign here, sponsored products. And in here, automatic and manual, everybody knows that. But inside of the automatic, you can have, let's see, where do they put it? So let's add a product in here. There's a setting I need to find that I'm not seeing off the top. So there's the top of search. Where is the loose match targeting strategy stuff? All right, I'm not going to be able to do this justice on the fly, unfortunately, but I have some great videos where we go through. We'll see if we can add a comment and link to the long, close, loose match, all that stuff. We also have some really good graphics on this. We'll send that over to you. Johnny says, we had a listing taken over that we had sold on for 2 years, and all of a sudden the listings changed to a totally different item. First question, Johnny, do you have brand registry? If you don't, that's your problem. Get a trademark and re-co-opt the listing. Yes, I see this all the time, but it's usually rare these days in comparison to when brand registry came out. It locked this down. It locks the listings down so the brand owners get most of the control. Hijacking is super rare without a trademark. So Johnny, hire us for a trademark. I'm pretty certain that's going to be your issue. If you have a brand registered item that got hijacked, then you want to go through brand registry and regain control and call them and escalate and send emails until it gets fixed. Ahmed says, product targeting versus keywords, which one is best? For 95% of products, keyword targeting is superior. Top of search keyword targeting is always been the best of the best. It's more expensive than it's ever been. PPC costs are up 35%. But by and large, product targeting doesn't do too well for new items. It does really well for highly rated items, and you're targeting across weaker items with less reviews and lower reviews. What should be the right approach to optimize the PPC, which is giving good sales, but want to reduce the spend and increase sales? So spending less money will not result in higher sales. I can tell you that right now. Those two things are mutually exclusive. Essentially, if you're going to do more with PPC, you need to negate what's not working and move the budget to what is working. So that means add lots of negations into the system for keywords that don't convert at a higher ACOS. If you're limited by budget, lower your bids and make them go farther and farther. Other than that, invest more in SEO. Eli says, I launched a new product. It's in a different category than our main business is. Should I have a separate brand registry? It depends. if you're going to do it under the same brand, no. If you're going to want to launch multiple brands, like if you have a totally different target demographic or your brand name is exclusive to that category, then yes, buy another trademark, get another brand registered. But it's not necessary. I'd say a brand can safely have 20, 25 different unique items under it before it gets a little too crowded. But if it's totally off brand to your current brand, get the second brand. If we're converting with high ACOS, what is the solution? If we lower bids, it will not convert. So you have a conversion problem, most likely. You also have a high competitor problem, most likely. So if you are converting with higher bids, then those are the correct keywords. You just don't want to pay for them. So the only other alternative you would have is to invest more into the listing conversion. So that means change the main photo. That means get more humans into the secondary image stack. And it means getting more beautiful A+ content, more keywords, and increasing the SEO. If you have high ACOS and lowering bids means you don't get the impressions, then you have to do those things. It's hard, tough work. How to remove or manage negative reviews if the customer was unable to make the product work. So seller reviews, super easy to remove, but product reviews, about a 3% removal success, unfortunately. So I do have a full guide on this. I'm going to link it over to you. Whenever I'm trying to find my own resources, I just go to Google and I type it in, how to remove negative product reviews on Amazon. Here we go. Here is your guide. And in here, we have a guide for pretty much every single scenario. If the review is about the seller, about the shipment, about the packaging, the competitor, the wrong product, you can copy and paste this. Now, mind you, I told you 3% chance of this working, okay? But this is how you do it. There's the guide that'll help you out. She says, former business partner has control but won't do anything. The designs are ours, and we are the only ones selling the brand. So I'm guessing they have the brand registry. Our two best products were listed under a brand connected to a store that is not controlled by us and is suspended and not used. Okay, so you need control of the brand store. Do you have brand registry control? If yes, file a brand registry ticket. Make sure that the other email inside of the brand registry is removed. Remove the business partner from brand registry. You need brand registry control. Otherwise, you're SOL on this one. UPCs, so the products are ours. Is there any way to regain control of the brand? Only if you have brand registry control. This is entirely a brand registry question. In the UK market, are 5,000 pounds stuck after, or is that, I think that's euros actually. Number of emails case submitted. It's not working. They turned off call option. Listing closed issue was copy product. So that sounds like a suspension of an account issue. File appeals, answer their questions, be basic, be specific, request reimbursement, request the funds, and escalate left and right, all the way up to Jeff at Amazon.com. All right, we got 3 questions in queue here. Going to Nina. Hi, Steven. I optimized my listing, 3 stages of SEO and A+ content. My tacos is healthy, 30%. But I want to accelerate my sales. How can I accelerate my sales? Spend more on PPC. That is always the answer to this question of acceleration. The more PPC you spend, the easier it is to gain the traffic. The other thing you can do is hire an influencer, do some external ads, TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and those sort of things, since your listing is already well optimized. Jahil says, if I have a shampoo product, when I'm trimming the fat in my CST, I see that the Aragon Oil shampoo is spend clicks but no sales. Do I negate it from my shampoo? Does it have Aragon Oil in it? So if somebody is telling you how to use the product and it's not the same product, don't negate it. The consumer will tell you how they want to use the product. I'll give you an example of this. So this keyword right here, sage candles for cleansing house, was not on my listing when I first launched. But through the search query report, we found that people were clicking on my product more than candles. Therefore, we went and put it into our listing and we advertised the heck out of it. And now I own 20% of the market share for that keyword. So it's okay if your product is not specifically what consumers are looking for. If they buy it, do it. Make sure it happens. Jahil, thank you for the super sticker there as well. Hopefully that answer is helpful. I would not negate any keywords that people are purchasing from you on. Just embrace it. And quite frankly, I might even put some copy into the listing about how you're not that particular thing, just to avoid any customer confusion. But by having the copy in the listing, you'll rank better for it, even if you're not it, if that makes sense. Pedro says, hi, do you recommend A/B testing for price? If so, do you recommend any tools? I barely do any A/B testing for price. Generally speaking, it's very difficult because a true A/B test needs to be every other, and most A/B testing is just every other hour or every other day and stuff like that. So no, not something I really typically see a need for. If you are wondering whether you can raise your price, raise it a small amount, $1, and see what happens. If the conversion rate is static, the BSR is static, then guess what? Raise it again until it goes down and then revert back downward. But that's usually my methodology for raising prices. And our last question today comes from Thulani off of LinkedIn. What's the best way to get Amazon certified? So this question could mean a lot of different things, but I'm going to guess you're talking about personal skills and certifications. And so because of that, I'm going to go ahead and give a plug to Mag School. And my Amazon guy put out courses for as little as $10 where you can get certified. Check them out. We've got a 5-course bundle, only $55, cheapest thing you can find on the internet. Best in class, all of our trade secrets on the catalog, design, PPC, and SEO. We also have a course on reviving sales and reinstatements. We're selling this one to aggregators so we can justify the existence of our Mag School, so we can make $1 here. But that's not built for, obviously, consumption across the world. SEO course, $10. If you're only going to buy one course from us, this is the one to get. You won't learn anything remarkable in other courses about SEO, but this one is remarkable. So check it out. Thanks, guys. That is our show today. Really appreciate everybody. Appreciate everything you guys have done to support the community. If you are watching this in the replay and you got a question, leave it in the comments. I answer all YouTube comments personally. And I'm highly engaged in social media with everybody. Love everybody over on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We do this every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Jason's going to fill in for me next week, though, just as a heads up. And we will see you guys later. Thanks so much.